office will have that, and they'll put that out. We're calling it Play It Forward. I know that's been called a lot of things, so I guess they haven't been copyrighted, so we just borrowed it. But that should be out soon. Line grants, those will continue. I don't know if any, the end of the year they did this push with schools and paid for them 100%, and must have had 150 in the last couple months of the year do the line grants. So if any of you haven't done them yet, that's going to continue at probably at least 80, but probably 90% paid for by Mississippi, Southern, and USDA. And if anybody haven't done clay courts, the clay court lines are covered in, aren't they, Jeff? Yeah. So if you got clay courts and you want to do the 60-foot lines, and they tell me, if you haven't done them, I don't know, Jock in Huntsville's got it down to about 15 minutes a court to take, to put them down or take them up. Starting off, it was a little tedious, but not too bad. They do have the ones you can bury, but has anybody done those yet? The 10 and under lines you can bury, brush the clay over? I don't know how that would be, but it seems like that might be more work to uncover the line. But the line grants will continue. Diversity grants, the deadline's actually today. So if you have any of your players, multicultural players, who are top 100 in the country or top 20 in the section, they should apply for these grants. These are from USDA. And they have a lot of those grants that just go unapplied for. The Womadoos have one in Okechi's name. Last year, and it's an essay grant, I don't think anybody applied for it last year. And it was probably $1,000. So any of your players that are eligible to apply for those, certainly should do that. My favorite, JTT 10 and under. I always have to thank Mary Rebecca and Amelia for doing this stuff early on, and when nobody else was doing it, and making a little money too. And I always use that as an example when I spoke at places, and I said, well, we've got 2 pros in Mississippi doing it in schools, and they're raking it in. This was years before we even started all this stuff. So that's still going strong. We are under, there is a proposal by the USDA. In Southern right now, we just do orange ball for 10 and under across the board. And the USDA would like for us to add green to that. And I do want to get a little feedback from y'all while I'm here on that. We haven't resisted that, but what we did, we added 11s to the level 3s, and those were pretty much all overflow. We added that to about 50 level 3 tournaments, mainly for players who were 10 and under or 11 who were at the top of the heap there. So I don't know, did any of you have players who did that? I don't know what your thoughts were on that. The 11 and under green, think so, Cleon? Okay, yeah, Dave, yeah.
We did more than 8.
Okay.
We did 15 boys.
Okay. And this year you can make that, I think you can make that draw 16 if you want this year. So what are your thoughts on that though?
I would prefer, from a tournament director standpoint, it was more work, extra draws, extra courts to do.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer to have the green go to advanced 10s. Maybe pick some point like Southern level 1, 2, and 3s be green for 10s. Southern level 4 and 5s be orange. So you can keep your orange 10 and under. You've already got that marketing out there for that, so you still keep that. But I just see some of the 10-year-olds when they get their bigger 10-year-olds, they just walk to the net and there's really no movement on that 60-foot court anymore for the advanced 10-year-olds.
Okay.
So I think that the advanced 10-year-olds can actually play 78 court.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't mind the 11-year-olds who use green and all for development stages, but as a tournament director, it was a little bit extra work to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Phil, what is the reason because I think it would have seemed that it would have been really simple to make green ball for advanced 10s and lower level 12s. And then you don't change anything else. What is the reason that we didn't do that, but rather went with the 11 and the
Well, the primary one, and actually some of the states do have green for lower level 12s. I think maybe 4.
Yeah, no, we do that here.
Y'all do that, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. We don't have any we don't have any upper level 10s events except for Southern Close. There's one level 1 in that team event, no level 2s, and then we have it at the 3s. And the reason for that was not to have them not travel out of state, trying to keep them within their state, more so for their play. And so the thought on the level 3s, like y'all held here, is that it would be mostly Mississippi players playing it, not players coming over from Georgia to do that. I mean, once we put 10s in level 2s, then we're going to exponentially increase the travel. When we looked at it, most of the top 10s are playing 12s, not green. I mean, because your top 10-year-olds don't play a lower level 12s event. They don't go from upper 10s to entry level 12s. They stay at upper level. So I don't know. We didn't, in that percentage there, it looked like it was that. So the other part of it was if we do put green in 10s, a lot of the other sections actually did this in the beginning. We were one of, I don't know, half a dozen that didn't. The ones that put green and orange in 10s, their orange play is really low because a lot of the players just played green, even though, even if they should have made orange. So we're still considering that.
The other side of that, you might keep some of your better 9-year-olds playing 10s instead of jumping to 12s.
Yep. We probably would. So I think if we take out the travel concerns, then we can go wide open with it. Put it in level 2s.
Why is there travel concerns?
For not wanting the 10s to have to travel that much out of state. Trying to stay in state mostly.
That's where we're going to have to travel more to find good tournaments, though, for those. That's where we're already planning trips to find advanced 9 and 10-year-olds to go play. So we're looking at like the Little Mo and stuff like that because it seems like they're geared towards advanced, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so I think that we are missing a lot of those good players.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to play up because the competition's not there. I mean, I'm experiencing that with like a few players right now that, they're way too good to play the orange ball, but they're not really good enough to play 12s.
You're exactly right. They're going to struggle with the full court and the yellow ball. So that makes sense. And it could be, we're in about 5 years of it now. So all these players now came through everything. So, I guess, if it worked well, which it looks like it has, then our players who are 9, we have more players right now who are 9 and 10, like you said, who are better and ready to play, say, green. So, I don't think we're locked into that. It's how we started with it. So we have our meetings next week, and we can certainly bring that up. So, but that's good. That's the input we need from you guys that are doing it and seeing it in the tournaments you run. So good. Okay, so if you run a 10 and under tournament or you have 10 and under JTP teams, we're continuing this grant thing where you get a couple of little nets and some balls to just go through Jeff or Russell or Kent for that. And we'll send out some of those little ones to you, portable ones to you. Let's see. Player development. There's good resources online now. There, with that coaching, youth tennis, and things like this chart. Some of you have probably seen it. They used to print a lot of these, and they don't really print them anymore. But it's, I think Ann Pankhurst did some of this. So it's got this development by age, and it's not a bad thing to post sometimes. Sometimes this can help you with your programs. When you have a parent that's trying to, wants their child to be here, and they really haven't done these things. So these things are online though, and you can print them and copy them. I got a couple here. I'll just leave if anybody wants these two. But I think that's the best thing USDA is doing. Is putting all the resources online available for you to pick up anytime. I know Todd mentioned the Coach Youth Tennis and the modules and everything, and they take a little time and everything, but I don't think it's ever bad to go back over things. I mean, you've been teaching 25 years and doing this stuff for a long time, but I mean, it never hurts to review, and that to me is what it is. It's a little bit of a review of things. And it's not bad to do that. All right, Junior Comp National, there's going to be a lot of changes for 17. So they're just, when was that last year, Jeff? 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, I think at that time I was probably doom and gloom about the stuff they changed, you know, and made the draw smaller and all like that. So the new group did away with all that basically. And now they're gonna, in 17, they're gonna try to bring back stuff that was occurring in the 80s. So tournaments like the Copper Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Easter Bowl's still there, Peach State. Their plan is to be open bids for any facility to bid on holding a tournament in a date block. And they're gonna evaluate each bid just on its own merit. So I hope we'll have bids from every one of our states, because weather-wise we're in good shape, and they're just gonna award them that way. It's not gonna be, in the past they said, okay, X number had to be in the Northeast, X number had to be in the Northwest, and only X number could be in the South. I think we're gonna get a lot of bids. Look at these tournaments. Some of the draws are smaller, so you're not gonna have to have 45 courts to hold one. And if you only do one age group and do 232 draws, but the good thing about USTA is their national entry fees are pretty high. So if you do 232 draws, you know, you're still looking at, you know, well over $6,000 in entry fees just for a weekend tournament. So that's not too bad. So that's coming. We're gonna get that info out to you pretty quickly when we get it, because the deadline normally for those bids for the next year is early February. So we got to get it. If you're running a level 1, 1A, 2, or 3, or 4, it's going to be automatically emailed to you. If you're not, I need you to contact Ken or Jeff to let them know you're interested. They'll have a bid packet, and we'll just shoot it to you, or you can contact Sandy or I directly. But we want you to bid, and we are glad that level 1A is coming back to Jackson in February. It was just kind of a snafu that it moved before when it was changing not venues but directors. So it'll come back. Y'all always did a great job with it. Players like coming here, you know, they get to see Cleon. Let's see. The other thing, we have a meeting next week. They're going to look at allowing states to have more level 4 Southern tournaments. So right now, I think each state's limited to 6, and every state has 6, and those are supposed to be state championships. So some of the states have them crunched into a short time frame instead of spread out during the year. So if that occurs, again, Jeff and Kent will know that, and then y'all can bid on that. I mean, that could be for this year, I guess, too, if they open that up. So, okay.
Well, how many do you foresee, like, if it's at 6, then how many more do you foresee that we'll get?
I think they do them like National's going to do those other ones and do them on the merited bid. Because, you know, if some of the states have 6 and, you know, half the draws, and some of those are pretty lean. I mean, they hardly fill them. North Carolina's got 6, and they turn kids away at every one of them, so they're the ones, you know, beating on the door to have more.
Yeah.
So, and I would imagine they're still pretty well here, probably. So.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I know I heard the GM's talking about pickleball a little bit. You know, it doesn't sound like it's had much effect with any of them yet. But I get calls every week from people saying, can we put pickleball lines on the tennis courts where they live, particularly in North Carolina. There's a lot of older people up there. But, and as soon as I say, you need to check with the league coordinator or the rec department, a lot of them just hang up. They don't say bye, because they've already done that. They're just trying to find a way. It is the fastest growing activity for 60 and over people in our country right now, by far. I played it, not because I'm that age. My knees are bad. It's, well, let me tell you what I saw. I saw a couple my age, probably, a husband and wife, playing with their son who's in his 30s, his very athletic looking wife in her 30s, playing each other. And the game was, and I don't even understand the score. There is this area at the net that's called the kitchen, lined off. If you go in there, you lose a point. The only time you can go in the kitchen is if you hit a ball in there and I gotta go in to get it. So it kept their son, who's 6'3", off the net. He couldn't stand up there. The ball is a whiff